Congressman Adam Schiff, welcome back to The Issue Is, and congratulations.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.
I know you launched your campaign on our show. You did our first debate with us, and now your first in-person interview after this with us. So I guess we're good luck for you,
You
right?
are good luck. You are good luck.
And you launched our show. You were there for our first episode.
Yeah, I guess I'm good luck.
We've been doing this a long time. So we know you really wanted to be first. We know you really wanted Steve Garvey to be second. How are you feeling right now?
We feel great. We ran, I think, a really strong campaign, and I think our message of delivering for California, of putting results over rhetoric, of being willing to lead in the tough fights for our democracy, but also looking for opportunities to get things done, to bring down housing costs, to bring down child care costs. I think that resonated, and I think there's a message for other Democrats around the country here that we need to move away from just the performative politics, the emphasis on how many views you can get, how many clicks you can get, as opposed to how much good you can do.
You know, going into it, there was a lot of thought that Katie Porter would frankly be closer. The race wasn't that close. You surprised by that?
A bit surprised by that, but I do think, and this was really clear when we would travel around the state, people were looking for, okay, what have you done? What are you going to do to try to improve the quality of our life? And the emphasis on all the performative stuff just didn't resonate. And I think people don't give voters enough credit, but voters are looking for someone that will deliver for them. I think it's why people admire Dianne Feinstein. She was somebody who, yes, took on big fights against the NRA and gave us the assault weapons ban and other big fights, but she was also somebody up and down the state who knew how to deliver.
Have Congresswoman Porter or Congresswoman Lee called to congratulate you or concede?
No.
What do you make of that?
Look, I've been there myself. It's hard. I've won races, I've lost races. They're two incredible colleagues, just tremendous respect for them, but it's tough.
Do you foresee working with them or campaigning with them or bringing them into this process?
Of course. I mean, they're both good Democrats. They're going to work to help elect other Democrats. I think there's a real opportunity in California to win back the majority in the House just by winning some of these California races. I also want to do whatever I can to help my colleagues in the state and around the country.
To that point, that has been one of Katie Porter's main criticisms of you as of late, that spending all this money to tell conservatives that Steve Garvey is conservative has brought out Republicans to vote, and that will hurt Democrats in the fall, that if you had Democrat versus Democrat, you wouldn't have as many Republicans voting. What do you say to that criticism that you are making it harder for Democrats to win back the House?
I think there's only one Democrat who buys that argument, who would think that one Democrat spending millions against another Democrat to beat each other up was a good idea for the party, instead of being able to use those resources to elect other Democrats. Much as we might like to think in the Senate race that we are the ones driving turnout, this is a presidential year. It is the candidates for president that are going to drive turnout. So I'm going to do everything I can to get Democrats elected up and down the ballot, but spending millions and millions of dollars attacking each other as Democrats wouldn't suit anyone's interest in the Democratic Party, for sure.
So for critics that say that was just a cynical ploy and all the rest of it, you say?
I heard that from one of my Democratic colleagues who used the same advertising strategy. So I think that argument works well with people who are not from California, don't understand the jungle primary. But here, the result would have been exactly the same if we had a closed primary. That is, we dominated in support among Democrats and got a lot of crossover support too.
Will you be now using some of the money you've raised to help other House members, Senate races around the country? Because you kind of have a bit of a surplus now, right?
Well, first of all, my primary focus is going to be on my race in November. I don't I don't take anything for granted. Steve Garvey is a terrible fit for the state. He would just carry out a Trump MAGA agenda, and that's not what Californians are looking for. But I also hope to help others. I've spent the last decade helping elect some of the most diverse Democratic candidates and office holders all over the country. And even as I'm campaigning hard for this Senate seat, I'm also going to be campaigning hard for other Democrats.
So that's a yes.
That's a yes.
In terms of Steve Garvey, Did you call him to congratulate him? Did he call you to congratulate you?
I didn't, and he didn't. I do extend my congratulations to him. I think he ran a very good campaign. And it's a little bit different, when you both make a runoff to call each other and congratulate each other is a little weird.
Yeah.
But I do certainly extend my congratulations.
We hosted the first debate in the primary. Would you want to be part of a debate in the fall? Are you committed to debating him?
Oh, I am definitely committed to debating him, but I will leave it to my team to be discussing the different venues.
Okay, well,
but you did a magnificent job.
Open invitation. I am shameless, as you know. What does that race look like? Draw us the map for the next few months.
I'm going to continue going up and down the state and trying to get to know each of the communities from the far south to the far north. What are people looking for? And when I travel the state, I don't tell people what I'm going to do for them. I ask them, what can I do to help? And so I'm going to continue that kind of outreach. I'm going to continue making the contrast with Mr. Garvey. He is never going to protect reproductive freedom. He's never going to stand up to the NRA. He's never going to push for universal health care. He's never going to aggressively attack climate change. He never is going to lift the minimum wage. He likes it right where it is at $7. So we're going to be pointing out all the contrasts.
Although he says that he would protect reproductive freedom.
Well, if you believe that, I've got a bridge I want to sell you.
Okay, so you don't believe him on that front.
No, I mean, this is someone who supported a constitutional ban on abortion at one point. And much as I think he is trying to remake himself, there's no hiding his Trumpian
Well, I mean,
credentials.
isn't that the danger in the strategy that you employed? Because you helped lift him up with conservatives. He didn't have to take that many positions in the primary, and now he has an opportunity to be a more moderate candidate. Are you in any way worried that he runs as a moderate candidate, runs against the system, and potentially connects with people that are fans of his from baseball and are looking for something different?
I think he's certainly going to try. I think he's going to be spectacularly unsuccessful. Californians want someone who can deliver. And they're not looking for another celebrity candidate who can't deliver. And he can't run away from his record much as he would like to.
Let's talk about the big issue right now is what's happening in Israel and Gaza. Your victory speech basically interrupted by protesters chanting for a ceasefire now. Do you believe in an immediate ceasefire? And if you don't, what can happen to help get there?
First of all, I'm glad I live in a country where people can protest and can express dissent, and I'm determined to make sure that come November, we continue to live in a democracy where people can dissent. In terms of the war in Gaza, what I'm hoping for and what is on the table right now is a deal in which there is a pause in the violence to release hostages, to get more aid into Gaza, to get more supplies, medical and food. I don't advocate a permanent ceasefire that would permanently entrench a terrorist organization like Hamas governing Gaza, because there will never be peace as long as part of the West Bank or Gaza is run by a terrorist organization bent on a genocidal campaign against Israel. So what I want to see is two states living side by side in peace, a Palestinian state in which a different kind of Palestinian authority, not a corrupt authority, but a technocratic authority, and certainly not a terrorist-run organization, is in charge of those two areas.
But when you see some of those images out of Gaza and you see those starving children, I mean, do you feel like Israel has gone too far?
My heart breaks for that loss of life in Gaza, and my heart breaks for the loss of life in Israel. There are victims in Israel, and there are victims in Gaza. The perpetrator here, the cause of all this violence has been Hamas. And that Hamas would continue to use Palestinian people as human shields and embed itself in civilian areas, will not agree to this proposed cessation of the violence, tells you all you need to know about that terrorist group.
But isn't it possible that two things can be true at once? That Hamas was bad, but Israel's gone too far?
It is certainly true that Hamas is terrible and instigated this conflict and perpetuates it. It is also true that we have to try much harder to reduce civilian loss of life and to get more aid. I am worried about the humanitarian disaster in Gaza. None of us can be unmoved by the images from Gaza. But the path to a lasting peace has to be an end to terrorist rule of Gaza, and it has to be two states.
Also striking have been images from the border. We've seen record crossings in December. We saw both President Biden and former President Trump visiting the border recently. Governor Newsom just visited the border last week. What needs to be done differently at the border? And how do you make that happen if you're a U.S. Senator?
Well, first of all, we need to, in the immediate term, get more resources to our ports of entry, which are overwhelmed. We need to have order at our borders. We need to also act in a humane way and not try to demonize people who are fleeing violence. But we also need to encourage people to apply for asylum either from their home countries when they can do so safely or from third countries, so we don't have this crush of people at the border. And when people do come to the border, we need to be able to process these claims swiftly. It does no one any good to come seeking asylum and have to wait 2, 5, or 10 years to have your case adjudicated, find out you don't qualify because you're an economic refugee, you're not fleeing violence, and then get sent back. That's not good for them, it's not good for our country. We also need, frankly, something comprehensive that deals with the millions of people that are already here and provides a pathway to citizenship for our dreamers and our temporary protective status holders and our farm workers who are putting food on the table. How do we get this done? Sadly, probably not with any Republican help. They believe this crisis is the political gift that won't stop giving, as you could see when Trump killed this deal. So Democrats are going to have to do it ourselves. We're going to have to pass something comprehensive ourselves, which means we're going to have to do away with a filibuster to get it done.
And it's going to be tough to get to 50 votes in the Senate, though, isn't it?
The toughest part will be getting 50 votes to do away with a filibuster.
Yeah.
We've been able to pass a comprehensive immigration reform in the House in the past, but the Senate has always been a graveyard, and we have to change that.
This is the week where President Biden reports on the State of the Union. If you had to give one sentence, how would you describe the State of the Union? This
is the most incredible bully pulpit opportunity you have, really anyone has in the country. And if my race is any indication, what the president ought to do is set out, this is what I've done, which has been extraordinary, and this is what I'm going to do. And I think people not only value at this moment in time somebody who is steady and smart and decent and honest, and they're going to choose him over that corrupt former president.
No, but if you had to say the State of the Union is blank, how do you answer that question? The State of the Union is?
The State of the Union is getting stronger. We're recovering from the pandemic. Our economy is doing better than the rest of the world, but we still have a long way to go.
The state of our state is blank.
The same. We are coming back from this once-in-a-century pandemic, and we are growing. But we have a lot to do to bring down the cost of housing and the cost of living, and create an environment like that which brought my family here and so many millions of others.
Just a couple quick questions on a personal note. I know we've been talking for a long time, and I remember talking to you maybe a decade ago about the possibility of this Senate seat and the possibility of you running when Dianne Feinstein decided to run for another term. I know this has been something you've been thinking about. How does it feel for you to be in this moment, to be surrounded by your wife, your brothers, your daughter, to be at an election night party, and to be on the cusp of making this happen?
I feel like I've had a very charmed life. Feel very blessed that way. There's certainly skill and hard work involved in campaigns, but there's also luck. And I feel incredibly lucky. We built a wonderful campaign. We have an incredible campaign staff. My staff in my district office here in Burbank and my Washington office, all incredible public servants. People on the campaign enjoyed the campaign. We enjoyed working together. We're continuing to enjoy it. And if you're going to work so hard at something, you want to be able to enjoy it at the same time. So I just feel incredibly lucky. I couldn't ask for more in a wife than Eve. I've got 2 wonderful kids, So I feel very, very charmed.
I mean, did you have a private moment where you all sort of looked at each other last night?
Oh yes, and there were some expletives involved.
In a good way?
Oh, in a good way, yes. The first began with "holy."
That you're here, that it's really happening.
You know, we felt good coming into election night,
Yeah.
and the polling looked good, but you never know, and so much is often turns on who turns out to vote.
Yeah.
We knew our supporters were the most determined to vote, so that made us feel good, but you never know, and the more you hope and expect, the bigger the chance you set yourself up for disappointed, so we were quite elated.
Was there a especially surreal congratulations call from somebody?
Well, I don't know about surreal, but my phone has been blowing up. If any of your viewers are among the few hundred people that have been texting me, I'm not ignoring you, just give me time to respond.
Do you hear from like the president or the governor or any folks like that?
I heard from the governor, I heard from Senator Butler, hearing from other senators as well, and they're been very, very gracious.
And lastly, you know, we like to play our personal issues game, but we're going to do a slight change on it. You know, it's Oscar weekend. You're the congressman that represented so much of Hollywood for so long. You're a screenwriter, which some people don't know, right? So do you have a favorite picture of the year? What do you think is the best picture of the year?
You know, this is a terrible answer, but I don't, because frankly, I haven't been able to see the films.
You've been busy? Okay.
I've been busy, but so I have a lot of catching up to do.
You don't have like a best actor, best actress, anything like that?
I'm a huge Robert De Niro fan, so I start out with a great prejudice, but I have some catching up to do before next week.
Well, the last time you were on the issue is you told us that Robert De Niro offered to play you in the future, which we hope to see. Just to wrap things up, just real succinctly, where is your headspace right now after this over a year of campaigning, going up and down the state, talking to so many millions of people, and now to get this verdict from the people of California?
Well, you know, I'll tell you, I have this election night tradition. I won't tell you where I go, but I go alone somewhere to just think about, if I have this chance to serve, how can I be most effective, and what my priorities should be. And as I was looking at the mountains and thinking about this, you know, I was struck by the fact that this incredible, huge state with the most incredible wilderness and with bears and lions and millions of hardworking people, you know, the opportunity to represent such an incredible place would be a tremendous honor. And I was really quite struck by the enormity of the responsibility if I'm lucky enough to get it, but also what a great opportunity it will be to serve.
Congratulations. Good luck on the campaign trail, and we hope to see you at the debate.
Thank you.
Thanks so much,
Thank
Congressman
you.
Adam Schiff. Appreciate it.